Before I even get started with this video, I would like to say that I am not interested in bodybuilding. I'm not a proponent of bodybuilding. I don't have any aspirations to be a bodybuilder, but there was a time in my life when I did dabble in bodybuilding when I was younger because I didn't know any better. And at the time I was overweight. Let me see if I can pull up a picture or two of that. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to follow a protocol, I want to follow a protocol from people that have to be lean and that have to be lean by a certain date. And then that's when I thought, well, bodybuilding is a sport where you have to the date that you're going to step on stage for the contest. And so people have a plan to get as lean as possible by that date. So I started following bodybuilding plans. I started following the nutrition and the training protocols. And although I did get some good results in the beginning, bodybuilding gets dark really quick. Basically what people are looking for, what the judges are looking for in bodybuilding, is the biggest possible muscle with the best symmetry, that means top, bottom, right, left, is equal, with the lowest percentage of body fat so that you can see the muscle. And it's always been the same since the beginning of bodybuilding, although it's gotten pretty crazy. I think we can all agree. But the psychology behind this is insanity. And the reason for that is you're chasing an aesthetic that actually makes you sicker and weaker than most people while appearing to be healthy, while appearing to be fit. It totally screws with your mind because to most people who are looking at a bodybuilder, they're thinking these guys are in great shape, these gals are in great shape. Well, at the same time, not only are they not in great shape, they're pretty frail and weak, especially when they step on stage. That's the frailest and weak that they're gonna be. Before we get any further, I will say this. I'm the kind of person that gets drawn into bodybuilding because I have what's called the ACTN3 gene, which is alpha-actinin 3. And when you have this gene, your body produces an enormous amount of fast twitch muscle fibers, and that's what makes me appear the way that I appear. It seems like since I hit puberty, if I put my hands on a dumbbell, I gain an inch on my arm. And I know that's gonna seem unfair to people who are hard gainers or people who dedicate an enormous amount of time to building muscle with very minimal results, but that's just how it's always been to me. So of course, someone like me is drawn to bodybuilding because I'm very good at putting on muscle. So as I got into bodybuilding and I'm doing hypertrophy style workouts and I'm training in my local gym here before I opened my own gym, I would openly get offered performance enhancing drugs. People would, I remember the first time some guy came up to me in the gym and he said, "You're new in town, you probably don't have a source yet. Let me know, I can hook you up." And I had no idea what he's talking about. I was in my mid-20s, I was natural, and I had no clue what he was talking about. And then it happened a few more times. As I was getting ready for a show, someone said, "Do you have a source for clenbuterol? Let me know, I can hook you up." This is before the internet was popular. Just for you guys that don't know, I'm in my mid-40s now. This is before you could just go online and get stuff. You had to have a source at your local gym. And I had no idea what he was talking about. So my education in bodybuilding drugs was from looking stuff up that people would offer me because they would assume that I was on gear, which is another word for performance enhancing drugs. Let me clear up why bodybuilding is so toxic real quick. And before I do that, let me just say that most people from the general public would do well putting on more muscle. It would benefit their life. It would make their life easier. It would improve their longevity. They would live longer. That does not apply to bodybuilders. They're already in a toxic state from using a variety of performance enhancing drugs combined with recreational drugs. And let me get into that real quick. If you want to be the best of the best in bodybuilding, you are required to use drugs. And you're required to use drugs because the federation where the best bodybuilders are in does not test for drugs, which means everybody's using drugs. You're not gonna make it to the top unless you're on drugs. And not just bodybuilding drugs, recreational drugs. Let me explain to you something. Bodybuilders will take steroids, which are hormone analogs, which increase anabolism, which is your ability to build muscle, for sure. Then they're also on drugs to suppress the appetite so you can diet down to show. Those drugs also increase energy so that you can do your cardio to burn the calories to get ready for the show. They're also on recreational drugs to give them energy when they're in an extreme diet, and to take water out of their system so that they can be dehydrated to the point where you can see every little fiber of their muscle under their skin because there's no water there. They also use diuretics for the same reason. They also use insulin to shuttle carbohydrates into the muscles after a workout. They use growth hormone to increase the tensile density of their tendons and ligaments and also increase healing. They also use prescription pain meds to deal with the fact that their body's in pain all the time. So when you have someone using a variety of hormones and recreational drugs and prescription painkillers and diuretics and insulin, they're not going to live very long, and they're going to have a pretty shitty life while they're here. Now, this was a weird thing to smack me in the face. Since I was natural, everybody assumed I was on drugs because of my genetic variant. And then everybody started offering me these drugs. And then I realized that bodybuilding as a sport was portraying people as healthy, while at the same time they were all on such a variety of drugs that they were sick. But not to mention, when you look your best is when you're the sickest. And there's no reason to be single-digit body fat. There's no reason for it. So we have all these magazine covers with these freakishly jacked people with no fat on their bodies, and people aspire to be that, not knowing the requirements. You have to give up your entire life. Bodybuilding is a full-time job. When you're not in the gym, you're eating, and when you're not eating, you're cooking food. There's nothing really outside of it. It doesn't exist. If you're going to be the best, it doesn't exist. Then you're full of hormones. You're full of recreational drugs. You're full of prescription drugs. It gets dark really quick. Now, I will say this. I do know people who have died bodybuilding. I used to work out with a guy who just stopped coming to the gym, and I really didn't know why. And I had to read in the paper that he died of an insulin overdose. And that was really hard for me, because as a young person who entered bodybuilding overweight, as a method to get healthy, to find out that not only are these guys not healthy, a lot of them die really young. And some of them die acutely, like the guy I used to train with, and some of them die slowly over time as their organs begin to shut down. Either way, though, it's not good. In my opinion, that's why bodybuilding as an organized sport is so toxic. And I wish people would realize that, because social media and YouTube are full of people portraying bodybuilding as a healthy activity, when the reality is it's very dark. So if you're interested in building muscle, you should also be interested in longevity. You should be interested in living as long as you can. You should be interested in having energy and vitality to do things with your friends and family. The things that get us into fitness should be the things that amplify everything we love to do outside of the gym. That should be the point of it. The point shouldn't be to do things in a way that makes you miserable and tired and full of drugs just to deal with life. I think there's a new generation of social media influencers that are going to rise to the surface, and they're going to save fitness, because what's been happening this last decade, bodybuilders and figure competitors and just influencers just dropping dead left and right. And it doesn't have to be like that. We shouldn't all put these people on a pedestal as if they're healthy when they're not. We should try to improve the quality and quantity of our lives over just trying to look a certain way. That's where it's at. So, that's my opinion. Thanks for watching. If you want more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment below with more stuff that you want to see, and I will deliver. See you guys next time.